Alright, how's it going today, guys? Castillo Trading coming to you with another weekly live stream. It is Monday and it's part of our weekly video series, guys. First things first, guys, shout out to the stream sponsors over at CoinCatch and Breakout Prop. CoinCatch is the perpetual exchange of choice that we like to use for our trading. That's where I do most of my trading. I know a lot of you guys do some of your trading as well. And then also shout out to Breakout Prop. They definitely are probably the best prop firm in the game, in my opinion. Definitely check them out. Going to be doing some more giveaways towards the end of the month, this month with them. So stay tuned for that. So shout out to the stream sponsors of CoinCatch and Breakout Prop. But we're going to just dive right into this, guys. So this was really the structure that we had for our NPOC levels and our NPOC setups, right? We had one at 85930 and 88399. Now this was the level that we wanted a retest of. Why did we want to retest of this level? When we were at the lows, this was where we wanted to short, right? I didn't really want to short into that 81, 82K area. One, because that's kind of sitting at the range lows. I don't like to be shorting at range lows. I don't like to be shorting at lower limit. So again, we wanted a move up to potentially get that short. And so we did get that move up, right? 88,339 NPOC level is a level that is closed out. And now kind of where are we going to go from here is probably the question that most people have when it comes to the setups and our trades. You know, things are kind of unfolding, but will I short this? I do not think I will short this for the sole fact that I am short from higher up at 106K. There's no reason for me to put on any ads down here, especially still down in that lower limit. Again, this is just the structure for NPOC levels. We talked about a range within this NPOC level with upper limit, median ML, and lower limit, and that's exactly what we're looking at. You know, we're looking at price now being at that upper limit area. So what happens at upper limit? Well, you short upper limit, right? You don't take longs at upper limit. And this is kind of where we're getting into that upper limit area. So I did kind of put out a tweet earlier this morning, guys, saying that, right, this is where I take profit. This isn't where I'm opening up fresh longs. And again, we have the setup to the short side. We have the setup to the downside as of right now. So that is what I'm sticking to. Again, just because I'm not shorting it doesn't mean that I'm not profiting off of the setup, right? Because positioned myself earlier and now we're taking profits into today. So that's really what we're looking for on the longs. On the short, we're still currently in a short setup, but we can go ahead and kind of create a new setup just because some of these have kind of updated, right? So this NPOC print is at about 84,989. Again, label this as NPOC level. So this is what we're looking at as far as our current NPOC structure, right? So let's just say you didn't trade anything, you weren't looking at the setups before, you weren't, you know, active on the live streams or any of the trading that we've done previously. Now what, right? That's again the question that I get the most. What happens next? Because most of the time, a lot of people will see my trades after the fact, and it's like, you know, a profitable trade, but then they're like, okay, well now what happens? And so that's kind of why I like to keep these setups rolling every single week with you guys, because then we can go over one, keep it going over another, keep it going over another, and just kind of keep things going for everyone. What are we creating now? And I still think the setup stays the same to the long side, right? I'm not really willing to long here. I'm not willing to long at 87K, 88K. Again, I want lower. And just like our previous long on 317, I still want that retest, right? Maybe we don't retest all the way. Maybe we just go down to 84,989, right? But there's also this cluster at 81,629 and also 8347. So that's kind of the game plan going forward. Does it have to drop from here? It doesn't have to drop, right? I just think conditions are going to still continue to stay the same, where we're going to have choppy conditions. We're going to have these headlines with President Trump. We're going to have uncertainty, especially at these levels, and also with TradeFi, right? To where there's some uncertainty there. So I just think we're still going to go sideways. Patience. Nothing extreme is going to happen very quickly. At least this is what I think, right? I don't think we're going to pump. I don't think we're going to dump. I just think sideways action, trade the range until it breaks, be in that mindset over and over and over again. It's still the same thing for me, guys. It doesn't change anything that price ran up and touched that 88K. Retest of this 80,347, and that's going to be the next area that I'm willing to put on more ads. So next, going into Ethereum. Weird situation that Ethereum is in. I don't really think anything really depends on like NPOC levels or like SMAs. I just think 2K. Like ETH needs to hold above 2K, and it may be something like this, right? To where it chops back and forth above, you know, below, above, below. But as long as it's just building right there, right? It just has to build that base for that next leg higher, or to at least retest higher. So, you know, if we deviate back down to, you know, 18.96, that's fine. But that's just, again, the mindset that I'm getting in. So setup stays the same. That's the next area I'm interested along is 18.96. This hasn't changed from last live stream on Monday. These setups are going to be the same. And next area I'm interested in shorting is going to be above at that, you know, 2300 area potentially if I do want to short. Again, that was once a heavy support area back in 2024, right? So if we retest that area and we reject again, it makes sense. Support then turned into resistance. But a lot is just really riding on macro tariffs. I think that's why chop happens, is because uncertainty is in the air. When uncertainty is in the air, people are kind of like dabbling in and out of risk on assets. So if you're dabbling heavily in on risk on assets, and what are you going to do? If you start to see, headlines of Trump and tariffs and all this stuff, you're going to pull a lot of money out of that, or at least some people will. That's just kind of just my 2 cents on macro when it comes to headlines and everything. These setups still all stay the same for me, right? And at least based on NPOC prints. We retest 1896, we have patience for that. We don't long until that happens, right? Same thing. If you want to short Ethereum, I wouldn't short it here. I would wait for a little bit higher. There's just no reason, in my opinion, to kind of short in this area when we're just starting to bounce, right? If you want a discount on your shorts, you want to wait for higher. These were NPOC levels that were like back in 2023. So we're tapping into price action that we haven't seen in, again, multiple years here. It's not just months or weeks, it's been multiple years. So there's a lot of demand in that area. You know that there's a lot of demand in that area because last time Ethereum was at this price, BTC is a lot higher than when it was at this price, right? So I think that's kind of hopefully the copium narrative for ETH there. I think Sol can actually get back up to 180. Now, what's the time frame on that? I don't know. I think it just depends. Depends a lot on all the markets, right? BTC, Ethereum, if they both reject, well, then Sol's going to reject too, right? But this is a key retest at 120 off of a 60% retrace on Sol, which I think is huge. But just look at how important 120 is. Rejection, rejection. I think it goes back even here, right? In this area too, where support, rejection, kind of rejection. But 120 has played a big factor in Sol over the years, 3-4 years. So retest of this area is a good bidding, at least a good start of the bid, right? At least a good start to create a position size. But it depends on how you want to do it. I think spot is always the best, or low leverage. High leverage can get very sketchy. That's just how I've always thought, I won't go over 7x. I think 5 to 7 is really like that key point. So I don't have very many technicals on this. All I'm looking at is 120, and for that to hold, if that holds, I think we can go up to 180. So it's one of those ones that I did fumble my bag on this. I had an entry, I think, down at like 123, 124. I don't even remember what it was. And so, it is what it is. Took a small loss or about break even. I don't even remember what it was on it, but it happens. You're not going to catch them all. On to the next. Fartcoin, I had no real reason to trade this. I just saw a ton of people talking about it, and I think I got an entry at like 40 cents or something, and the next morning I was at like 100%. So those important ones sometimes don't even need technicals. Like Fartcoin got a lot of hate when it was down. 93% was getting a lot of hate. Started to gain momentum. It got from 20 cents to 40 very fucking quick. And so that momentum continued, especially something that's new. A lot of people are still trading fucking memes, or at least want to trade memes. So Fartcoin is one of the ones that I think, again, was just a good trade. I'm not married to this fucking coin. I don't think it's going to go back to above $1. It was a quick trade from 40 cents to 60 cents, and I'm out. So Alva, what's up with this one? I mean, just looking off pure technicals on the daily, we'll take these down to the 12-hour just in case. It is in a good area, right? I mean, if you want to build a position on plays like this, this is the area that you want to do it, right? It's just, are you going to have the patience for when it doesn't happen right away, right? Because this looks like it could go something like this, to where good retest, good support, maybe deviate back in, and then, something like that. But it might take time. I don't think it's something that's going to, jump out of 10 cents right away and be back at 30 anytime soon. Okay, so XRP, we did talk about this 4-hour current range, and I still think that if you want to trade XRP, I just think you should trade this chart here, right? Just take it down to a 4-hour, and we're gonna extend this now. But it's a very fucking clean range on XRP, I'm not gonna lie. At least finding lows, support holding, getting those wicks, right? You wanna see these wicks at support, right? Like obviously it gets weaker and weaker the more that it gets retested, but it just means that there's demand for this asset. It may break down at some point, but again, I will happily long lower limit than be longing upper limit any day. If you're longing upper limit, you're planning for a massive breakout to happen, which I just don't think happens that often. I don't know the percentage on it, but I used to be a breakout trader on penny stocks, and it's hard. It is hard. A lot of people trading against you. But yeah, XRP, just it's in a no trade zone for me though. Upper limit, lower limit, I would be happy to bid below $2 again on XRP if we got it, but other than that, kind of in a no trade zone for me right now. We've been talking about HBAR. What the fuck happened to HBAR? I don't even remember. There was something, because we did talk about this, but even here, right? Like look at the patience that you would have needed to capitalize. Like, cause we were longing that 6 cents area, I think last time, or I don't know if we traded this. This was back in summer of 2024. I don't know if we traded this or if it was just a setup that someone had us look at. But yeah, just look at how long it took between when we were longing and when it actually started to pump, right? It was like looking in this area, Then it runs 4 months later, 120 days later, right? So patience is gonna be a lot. I think patience was gonna kill a lot of people, at least hurt them when it comes to their trading, because you really need patience within the crypto market. But if you have patience, it really does pay big. I really appreciate you guys joining the stream. Shout out to you guys. I will be doing another giveaway this week. I might do a poll. Either I'm gonna be doing one 500 giveaway or two $250 giveaways. So stay tuned for that. I'm not sure exactly what I'm gonna do, but probably just another retweet on like a post or something. So shout out to you guys. Shout out to everybody that's always in the Telegram daily, that's always joining these streams. Again, the setup is finally complete, guys. I'm getting a piece of art that's coming back here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but maybe we can adjust the camera so you can see it in the background. Thank you guys for joining the stream today, and I will see you over in the Telegram. Peace.